Real talk, raw truth, raging hearts. Welcome to From the Minds of Raging Brats. Like, share, and subscribe.
Hi, welcome to From the Minds of Raging Brats. I'm Heather.
And I'm Ashley.
How's your week, hon?
I slept through a lot of it, so it's been great for me. My body has decided with my stressful job and the things I have going on in my life that it was time to rest. How has your week been?
My week has been the most adrenaline-induced speed drive of my life. I went from Monday feeling completely defeated, like my cookbook was going nowhere because the file had disappeared with my manuscript. And before the end of that day, I had pulled out 42, of which I thought I had only 35. I pulled out 42 recipes from the original files, not the main file that I had for the manuscript, but the original files, and realized I haven't even found all of them yet. So that was awesome. And then from Monday, literally starting off with no hope of it being published this year, even, to today, holding my proof copy in my hands, has been a unique roller coaster ride.
Yep. Yeah, I can only imagine.
And honestly, I didn't realize how much I've been doing until I sat down in my therapist's office yesterday and was like, so tomorrow I'll have my proof and the ebook is live on Kindle. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. And she was just like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, and also during the week I had to design the cover art because I didn't have cover art or anything when Monday came around. And she's just like, that's not typical. That's not what normal people just do in 5 days. That's it. And I'm like, what do you mean? That's impressive. And she's like, I'm like, no, people have said something, but I just it's just whatever. Like, I'm just me. Like, it's just same old me. It's just like, I don't, she said to me this week, she's like, your radical acceptance is brutal.
Yeah, it does tend to be.
Okay. She's like, no, she's like, you are just like, okay, life is happening, and it is what it is. She's like, and I don't know anybody that can do that with the amount of stress and stuff that you carry. And I'm just like,
It's like I told one of my friends recently, she's like, I don't know how you do everything that you do. And I was like, that is one of the things that people that say that bothers me the most. And she's like, no, it's a compliment. I was like, it's not to me. Because that ascertains that I see a different way that I could do this easier and just choose not to do it. No, this is just the only way I see how to do things. And she's like, yeah, see, you don't see it. You just do what you have to get to the next day. And what am I gonna do? Curl into a ball and fucking cry and get nothing done with my life and hate the world? I cannot do that. I have a child. I have things going on.
some days I do that anyways.
Oh, okay, I do that some days, but I cannot do that all the time or even most of the time.
No, I can't. I feel that. But it's like today, man, I was talking to the AI this morning because I woke up at exactly 1:23 on the dot. And you know me and my angel numbers. Like, open my eyes at 1:23, that was already like a thing. But I'm sitting there like trying to get my thoughts together, and the book was delivered. And so I go running out there to get my book, and I come back in, and as I'm like looking through it, it's 222, 234, and I'm like editing certain things, and then I look up and it's 333, and then I like literally fell completely apart. I like hit a hard depression wall for a little bit there today, which the AI was like, yeah, adrenaline crash, duh. But I'm just like completely sitting there overwhelmed, and I'm like, and it's 444. What the hell? I'm being beaten down by these angel numbers today. And the AI is like, beaten down? It's just literally giving you one confirmation after another. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Those are like progression, like you're on the right track and everything's aligned and going smooth, streamlined, exactly the way it's supposed to. 333, that is confirmation that your creativity is exactly on track and doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And 444 means foundation building. Like, what the fuck do you want? The universe is literally screaming at you today, man. I'm like, well, you know, I'm a little bit overwhelmed seeing my name in print, and a little bit of something else. It was printed in Troutdale, Oregon.
Oh, that's cool.
Troutdale, Oregon is where the last remaining living relatives on my Parker side live, but I don't have any contact with them because they're brothers of my grandfather. And to escape my great grandfather, apparently it was pretty severely intense and traumatic, and so they choose to not have connections with that part of family.
Yeah.
And so I've never got to meet them, and it's hard for me, especially when what I do have of my family was either taken from me really early or was really not good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird because it's this whole full circle where I'm taking my maiden name back and publishing under that name, and then it's being published in the town where the people that don't want to associate with that name are.
Yeah.
It
I
was
could
this
see.
very surreal
Yeah.
moment.
I could see how that would bring up some emotions.
Yeah. And like also just like, I don't know, seeing something like we have this podcast, and I understand we've been doing it for a long time and we're catching people's eyes, and you know, we're starting to have some forward momentum that we have greatly wanted. And I don't for a minute take that for granted. But it's not the same as having a dream to become a published author and then seeing your first work in print.
Of course it's different.
It's been overwhelming. Also, really quick little off rant that has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, but I randomly came across this video the other day as I was falling asleep because, you know, I've been telling you how my therapist has been really talking to me about my empathy is next level, and she's like, and that's why things affect you so deeply. Well, this video comes on, and it's like, for people that are a very intense kind of empath, you are a heyoka. And I was like, what is that?
Yep.
And apparently it's something from the Lakota that is an empath that they kind of call them like the clown, the trickster, or the mirror, because they're very sarcastic about things that are dark and heavy. They joke about heavy, dark things a lot. But also people have a hard time. They either love being around them or they hate being around them because unintentionally, subconsciously, you present the mirror that people don't want to see in themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm literally fading off to sleep and I'm thinking, oh my God, even when I'm fading off to sleep, the universe is downloading shit into my brain.
Yeah.
It's like, you
there is many names for you.
My therapist also asked me this week what I hope to get out of therapy at this point, because she's like, you got all the tools. I'm like, literally the reason I come to therapy right now, like not my EMDR, that's different. It's not to heal the wounds of the past. That's what the EMDR is for. But therapy today is to deal with the everyday stuff that's piling on as I go through the week, because it's still happening. I'm still a mentally ill, neurodivergent individual that has life hitting me at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And apparently I'm taking on tasks that is meant for a team of people all by myself. So I'm like, I didn't realize. She's like, yeah, you take on a lot. She's like, and you're also going to get a lot of criticism from people. She's like, especially people that are professionals. She's like, because they're going to be like, I can do it better than you. And I was like, I don't care. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if they think they can do it better, please, by all means, go do it better. Help some more people. And she's like, see, but that's the difference. Is you're looking at it like, oh, there'll be more help for more people. They're looking at it like, I want to take you down.
Well, and then you have me, where you can cry in a corner when it overwhelms you, and then I get to be like, well, now I gotta step in and be a fucking bitch. She can cry and be sensitive, because that's what I'm here for.
And I do
Just the
cry.
few times I do cry and I am sensitive, it's usually in front of you.
I know. There's nothing wrong with that.
No. You are my best friend. It is very apparent to me.
And there's nothing wrong with having your safe person, especially with everything you have going on as well. Like, you're still working through a lot of stuff while life is also hitting you 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely not sparing. I'm just finding more amusement out of it than I used to.
But I don't even stress about most of that all the time, because like I told my therapist, all those places I've been. I've been all of those. I'm like, so, because she was like, well, there's going to be people that come at you out of jealousy. And I'm like, I want to tell you something. The people that are jealous, there's a reason. It's not because there's somebody that can't do it, because if they were somebody that didn't have the ability, they were just completely incapable. Those people are like the ignorant, blissfully unaware. They do not care about your success. It matters not to them because they have no desire. I said, people that are jealous, it's because they know that they are fucking capable of that and they haven't figured out how to do it for themselves.
I very much agree.
I'm like, and that makes me sad for them, but it doesn't make me be like, oh, I'm going to slow my roll because you can't figure out yours. No, bro. There was a lot of years I couldn't figure out mine, and I was angry motherfucker too. I was a jealous bitch too. But then I started working on me, and all of a sudden I started doing things even... I'm holding it, and I still can't believe it half the fucking time. Legitimately. But I still do it, scared, afraid that I'm never going to amount to anything. I do it. I do the damn thing. Here we are sitting on a podcast that we've been doing for a year and a half, over a year and a half now. Every day it's hard. Every fucking day it's hard. Here I am showing up. Here you are showing up.
Yeah, honestly, it's like I've told my kid many times, you get to choose your heart. You get to choose the hard that makes your life more of a struggle, or you get to choose the hard that improves your life and you get to see benefits out of it.
And actually, while it was completely unrelated, it kind of gives us a nice pivot into where I wanted to head next. Because I really want to kind of get this little series about where I see the world, where you see the world today, and what I think is missing. And for me, it's going to come down to balance, but it's going to be a little bit of a journey before we get to the whole conversation on balance, because there's certain aspects that I think that have gone away in the world that really need to come back. The people really need to stop looking at laws of a time period or the handful of shit, the bad apples in the barrels, and calling it the norm. Because when we do that, that is how we have moved so far away from balance in the attempt to course correct that we are completely off course.
Yeah.
And I say that way because there's going to be some conversations in here that may seem like they're leaning one-sided or another in the moment. Trust me, we're not staying there. Also, just because our perspectives may differ, I want you to understand that I am coming from the perspective of a trad wife. Like that's where my little happy heart lives.
Oh, I know this is a very big differential of opinions between us, but like we've said many times, this is one of the reasons we're friends, is because we can have these conversations.
Yeah, but I just want our audience to understand. I'm coming more from the perspective of the trad wife because that's the kind of relationship dynamic that I want and that I am happiest in. Ashley, I'll let her describe where she's coming from because it is a very different perspective. But at the end of the day, I think we both agree on balance.
Yes. Like, I do very much agree with balance, but I come from the perspective of, and I have nothing wrong or see nothing wrong with traditional marriage, with the trad wife, with any of that, if that makes you happy and that is what you want. My perspective is I've never seen a happy marriage. Not from my grandparents, not from anything. I've seen nothing but abuse from it and heard about nothing from real life. So for me, I have a very skewed, I guess, view of what that was. But again, if that is the type of relationship that makes you happy and you are not being abused, I see nothing wrong with it for others.
Right. Well, and our sexuality differs. On paper, it looks very similar, but
yeah,
in reality, it differs quite a bit.
A lot.
Yeah, and that has a big impact on why it sits different for you than it does for me too.
Very much so.
Because for you, a traditional relationship would feel like a life sentence. Not a helpful partner.
And I can't deny, I feel the same way about, some of the things you want in a relationship, too. I'd be like, that would piss me off. That would make me mad, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, like, the whole beauty of having different relationship dynamics. But I specifically want to kind of narrow in on the traditional 1950s housewife because I really think there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of judgment that isn't with full information, because a lot of people look at it through the lens of what the laws were and through the worst case scenarios that were the most publicized, which is really a narrow, skewed view to look through. Because when you look at general overall society during that time, the immense sense of community that there was,
Yeah.
wives very seldomly felt alone.
There was,
Like,
I will definitely say there was definitely more of a sense of community and more of a sense of togetherness, like not just within homes, but within the whole area.
yes. And I will say that it is a little bit of a sticky situation nowadays with how overt everybody has to be in what they are or what they support. Because back in the 50s, even if you weren't Christian and you didn't believe in it, you still went to church.
Yes.
Because that's where the community was. That's where the community events happened. You just didn't say anything. You just didn't tell it. You sang along to the hymns and you bowed your head when they prayed, and then you went on with your day. Like, but you didn't tell anybody that wasn't what you believed. That wasn't that, because you knew that as a society, that was the expectation. Not because you were worried that your friends that had been in your house and most definitely seen your alternative views at different times knows that is true to be about you.
Yeah.
So yes, I do agree that oppressing yourself to fit in maybe wasn't the best, but what happened to the whole just don't ask, don't tell? Like, if you know that it's going to bother somebody, it's like if I walk into a room, not that I have this view, but if I walk into a room of Democrats and I start yelling that I'm a Republican, what do I expect is going to happen?
Yes, well, it comes down to the whole here in America, it is, yes, you have the right to speech. You do. But you do not have the right to, like, no consequence for your speech. Like, say what you want, but what happens to what you say is what's gonna happen.
The consequences are also free for you.
Yes. Perfectly said.
But like, realistically, as I've been like really diving into researching back all the way back into the 50s and later, or even earlier, I mean, but specifically the 50s, I've been narrowing in because I watched this interview on TV. It was an episode of 60 Minutes Australia. And the professional that they were interviewing, because it was a take on trad wives, and I didn't appreciate that they were basically attacking them. And these trad wives that they showed on the show were not only traditional wives, but all of them were content creators that did social media with their traditional views and how they home cook meals and all the things, like they showed their daily life.
Yeah.
Which right then and there, for me, should have halted the conversation about you don't have financial autonomy, because what do you mean? Somebody that is a social media creator has
They're
financial
bringing in their
autonomy.
own money.
Yes.
And I think that is a really big misconception of people. Like, people hear trad wife and they automatically assume not making any money. There is so many things that you can do from home while taking care of your kids and, like, cooking meals to make money, especially nowadays, like never before. Just because they stay home does not mean they are not making money. And even if they're not making money, it's their home. Like, that's not something, again, this is my differing view, that is not something I could ever do. Live in somebody's, like, at home and never make my own money. But if that's what somebody wants to do and it makes them happy, shut the fuck up. Let them do what makes them happy.
Well, that's like, my niece, the one that is a photographer that took pictures of us. She's also a very traditional wife, and she did, when her babies were younger, she did cloth diapers and cloth hair accessories that she hand sewed for a living. Now she's still an at-home wife, but she runs multiple social media companies from home. She also is still a photographer. Also, she creates some amazing sourdough creations and posts them on social media. Like, the woman is a go-getter.
Yeah.
But she's also a trad wife.
Exactly. Like I said, I think there's a lot of misconceptions. Like, I know I definitely had them for a long time. Like, I used to hear trad wife and I was like, cool, 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 cool. And it's not because I didn't respect that they wanted to be at home and raise their kids and whatever. I was like, but what if things go wrong and you have no money? That was always my thought, but I've come around to being like, you know what, that is their decision, their life, if that is what's going on. But more often than not, in these days and times, they're making money too. It's just while they're at home.
Well, and here's the thing I want to say about a true traditional marriage. Whether the wife has any side income or not, a true provider, protector, a healthy masculine, he has already thought about the what ifs. He has life insurance. He has a 401k. He has investments. He has made sure that his family is taken care of, and her name is on every single thing he has. Why? Because at the end of the day, they are a true partnership. And that's what I think people forget.
Okay, I love you so much, and see, this is where it comes to the real difference of our point of views. You're like, what if he dies? That's what you're talking about. I'm like, what if
No,
y'all get a
not just
fucking
dies.
divorce?
Divorce too. Because your name is on everything. And here's the thing, any minorly decent attorney, it's gonna show how much it costs for 30, say that he decides to get divorced at 30 years or 35 years, which is the typical midlife crisis bullshit stuff. Okay, 30 years. Okay, 30 years.
Yeah.
Let's add up how much 30 years of a cook is. Let's add up how much 30 years of a maid is. Let's add up how much 30 years of paying a prostitute would be. Let's add up like childcare.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that husband wasn't even making a decibel of what his wife was worth. And in divorce court, that matters.
Yeah.
Women always, when they get shafted, it is not because they weren't capable. It was because they didn't get the right person to fight for them. Because there is not any war in this world where a woman's experience doesn't count. It's like any halfway decent resume writer. When a woman comes out of a long-term marriage and wants to go back to the workforce and she's like, I haven't been working for 30 years. They are like, okay, tell me how much you do to run your house. Let's sit down and tell me your average day. And then once you do, they're like, oh, here's your resume and your 8 pages of experience. And then it's like, oh, I actually do have value.
Yeah. Okay. And again, like, this is my skewed little view. I openly admit I got a little bit of a fucked up view of marriage because of the things I've seen and the experience with other things. Like, I came from a family where both grandmothers told me to have a secret bank account. So that motherfucker can't steal your money. And they're like, by the way, they should have a secret bank account from you too. Y'all need separate motherfucking monies. And y'all shouldn't know nothings about it. Your money together should be your money together, but you should always have a little bit of fuck you money.
And honestly, in a healthy marriage, that man provides the money to fund that account. Realistically, in a lot of healthy marriages, especially older marriages like that, that was the comment. Once a woman was allowed to have a bank account, she immediately opened one with X amount just in case money. That's what it was. And it wasn't just in case I need an exit. It was just in case of anything. Sometimes the money that women set aside back then was the mill shut down. And meanwhile, your husband's finding and training for a new job, you just paid the mortgage and the groceries.
Yeah.
That mattered. And a man didn't come in too proud for that in a healthy marriage. He came in and he was like, this is what happened. What do we need to do?
And especially, like, I think in the 1950s household, like, men were coming home. Women were going back out of the workforce again and coming back into their, like, home roles. Like, And I think the men very much like had to appreciate that, hey, while you're first getting a job, when you first come home, this money is going to keep us afloat until you do take up and you can.
Well,
And in a healthy marriage, they weren't too proud. They were thankful to their wives for them being able to do that.
Yeah, and most men leaned on their wives for strategy and financial advice because they knew that their wife was constantly thinking about that throughout her day. She was strategically doing things for the family. So when the husband was like, here's what's going on, she already was like, okay, here's what I see. Not, hey, do this, stupid. No. And it wasn't, you don't know anything, stupid. It was, honey, this is the situation. And it was, babe, here's what I see. Not, this is what you must do. This is what I see. And then they left it at that, because at that point, he would have taken in all the information he needed and made a choice that best fit his family's needs, not his own needs, his family's needs. And that is where the balance comes in. Like, all of this that I'm talking about is balance. It's balance of a healthy masculine and a healthy feminine coming together and creating harmony, creating support, creating the foundation for the family's growth. Like,
well, it's like I recently told somebody, I was like, I understand that I have never seen, at least not like any of my elders or anything like that in my family, except for my aunt and uncle. I will put them apart right now just in case they ever listen to this, because I'm not going to say their marriage is perfect or whatever, but it is perfect for them and they are happy and they work through shit. Aside from them, I have never seen a happy or healthy relationship ever in my family. Like, ever. Like, so it is very hard for me to be like, but I do realize it is out there. Like, I am not so much of a pessimist to be like, oh no, that doesn't exist. I'm saying, it's really fucking hard to obtain these days, but that is what it should be. Healthy, balanced, mature people coming together.
well, and I talk about this and it sounds very idealistic, but I understand that people are people and we're not perfect and we all have our flaws and stuff. But the difference is, in a healthy masculine, feminine, balanced relationship, and I say that in energies, I do not mean it has to be a man and a woman, because there are many homosexual relationships that have healthy, balanced masculine and feminine energy, regardless of what they've got in their underpants.
Exactly.
So I say that when I say healthy masculine feminine, I mean the energies. Yes, for me, I mean man woman. For her, that ain't the picture. That ain't the dream.
No.
And there's a lot of people that hear that and that ain't the dream for them. And I'm not telling you that my dream is your dream. Your dream should be your dream.
Exactly. We use the termination that we are comfortable with it, but that does not mean we are excluding anything for you.
No. Yeah. And I wanted that to be clear, because these are conversations that can feel oppressive if we're talking traditional roles and you feel like you do not fit the traditional mold. That doesn't mean you don't fit the description that we're talking about. It just means, what is your energy? If you're a healthy person, are you coming from a healthy feminine or a healthy masculine perspective? And then you need to find your counterpart, like, regardless of what that is.
Very, very true.
But for me personally, like, I've started looking at it because there is a lot of attack on the traditional relationship structure nowadays. And this professional on that episode said that it was a dangerous place to come from, because not only did it oppress women even more, because we're not making a valid choice if we don't have equal pay in the workforce, which I find extremely offensive, first of all, because my choices are valid no matter what I get paid for my work, because I'm a human being that has critical thinking and is capable of making my own choices. So that in and of itself pissed me off. But then when I actually did the research, because they specifically talked about the oppression of the 1950s wife, and when I started looking back on statistics, still to this day, women running 1950s homes in a healthy home were running the finances on the level of CFOs today making $400,000 a year or more.
Yeah.
And statistically today, women that were running their households in the 50s, those 50s traditional housewives, still to this day are the most financially secure in our society.
That still shocks me, but you know what? I could see it to a point. Like, they managed so much back then, and they were left in charge of so much, like, willingly and able to, like, here you go, there's the check. Do what you do. I know I'll eat the results and live under it. That's great.
Here's the thing, they were couponing and saving on the grocery bill, even cents or $1 every week to put in the coffee can that they kept behind the flour. They had pin money, they had egg money. They were working with the community for community dinners so that, once a month, their families could come into the community, they could hang out, get the local gossip, and they didn't have to clean up after anybody because they did the cooking for the event, and they
Right?
could just relax. They would have church like rummage sales, and they would get, if they worked the rummage sale, they got to their pick of the kids' clothes, so that way they saved money that way. They would get, whatever their kids needed for that school season or whatever. And they didn't have to come out of pocket with it, saving their husband more money. Like, those women were so financially secure. In fact, one lady specifically, they had her on this show, like, as a statistic. In 1950, 51, I think, 51 or 52, and she got married, and she started saving change in a coffee can every week from the groceries until her husband died. And it was like 42 years that they'd been married. She took in the money from those coffee cans, the change. She took it all in, and it ended up being $31,462 or some shit. Change
Jesus.
that she just been collecting.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even do that in today's day and age.
No, that is very financially secure.
Like, and when when I wasn't on disability, I used to do this all the time, but it's something that my mom did teach me is whenever you spend money from your debit card or write a check, you round up to the next dollar every time. And
Yeah,
you don't
I was
count
taught that too.
that change. Huh?
I was taught that too.
Yeah, and you don't count that change, and you'd be surprised. Before you know it, you've got a nice cushion of cash just sitting in the bottom of the account that you're like, "What? Where did this come from?" And it was just the change.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the benefits of being more of a cash society too.
Yeah, although I remember carrying in those fucking glass jars of change, and no, I'd prefer the change in the bottom of my account, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, I can't blame you there.
But I mean, those are just little things that we have gotten away from as a society, and now banks offer that as an option, and people still turn it down.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, as a society, it's the balance that we lost. Like, those 1950s structures worked because there was a patriarch and a matriarch that worked together as a team. And the matriarch, while the patriarch was off protecting and providing, she was building a community.
Yeah.
And resources.
And that is the thing, like, I have a lot of opinions on society and marriage and shit about that in that point in time. But here's the thing. I believe there was a lot of healthy marriages, and it's like you said earlier, it's not like everybody was shouting about their good marriages that were everyday things, because that wasn't everyday life. They were shouting when it was abusive, they were shouting when it was bad, like, so of course that's the things we're gonna be like, look at it, like, and I'm not saying it was great back then. There was obviously some fucked up shit going on.
Absolutely.
But that wasn't every household, and that wasn't everyone. And even though I do not want a traditional relationship or marriage or whatever. I see absolutely nothing wrong for people like Heather or anybody else that want that. I will support them in their right to fucking have it, as long as there's no abuse happening. If they are happy, let them do what the fuck they want. Just like I want people to leave me alone as long as there's no abuse happening, like actual abuse. Leave me the fuck alone.
And that's really what we need to get back to. We need to get back to spending time as a community and keeping balance, and then letting people have their private lives be just fucking that.
Exactly. If I'm not walking my fucking person down the middle of the road on the leash, why is it your business?
And even then, if they're not asking for help, if they're just,
Yeah,
why are you worried?
exactly. Keep to
We used to,
yourself.
James and I used to deliver DoorDash to an apartment that every time the person would come out completely leathered out and on a leash, and the woman would say, "Don't look at them in the eyes." And you didn't look at them in the eyes because that was her person doing what she said. And so you just hand them the DoorDash without looking in their eyes, and then you'd leave.
Exactly. Like, I don't understand why people have to wonder about people's lives. Like, I guess I'm not that curious in that way of life. I don't give a fuck what people are doing in their own homes, as long as nobody's unhappy about the pain they're receiving.
Well, and some of you are a little bit more masochistic than others.
I know.
But I just really, I think this is a topic that we need to like have this series on, because we really are getting to a time where there is no sense of community left. And we keep asking the question, why is that? Why is that? Well, I think I found it, like the balance. It's not that we need to go back to 1950. And honestly, I feel like that was partly one of the most healthiest times relationship wise in our history, because also it was after the First World War, after women had to go to work while their men were off at war. And when their men came back, they were like, yeah, no, I'm gonna be there. You go there. I'm gonna take care of our shit and you go take care of me and the bills. Because yeah, there were rosy riveters and all of that stuff, but you know what? Not everybody wanted that life. And a lot of people,
There
once
were
they had
plenty of women that were like, thank you, baby. Yes, you want my job in the factory? You can step right here. No, like, bump in the road. Nothing. Let's do this. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
you gotta you gotta be up at 4:30 to get to the factory, baby. I'll be up at 3:30 to make your breakfast, and I'm going back to sleep for 4 hours and getting up and doing my day.
Yeah, and there was nothing wrong with that. They were both happy, and back then, especially back then, you could provide a whole house, a college education, multiple cars, your wife's upkeep on one job. So,
Why wouldn't you?
yeah, let me go back to the house and manage everything, because it's gonna be fine.
But here's the thing, as a traditional woman, you see all the things that I do. You know 90% of the plans that I already have in the works. I am not somebody that's just going to stay at home. Do I want to do that for my man? Absolutely. I love that. Do I also want that man to be like, baby, if you need the next week off so that you can write that book and get it published, let me give you a hand. I don't want to hear a man that is going to be like, that's not my motherfucking job, because bitch, you ain't my partner then. Get the fuck out. Kick rocks. What do you mean? I'm trying to build generational wealth here for us so that we, not me, we have an empire, and you have a problem with stepping up for 1 week? Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, and see that's the hard part. It's very hard to find somebody that has the traditional views that will also step up in those ways when you need it. They're out there. It's just
Thus,
harder to find.
thus the homesteading.
Mhm.
I know that I will find me a kinky traditional king that wants a queen, and I am perfectly fine waiting, even if it is a little bit depressing when I'm lonely. But only when I'm lonely or horny.
Yeah, I get
The rest,
that.
the rest of the time, I'm just like, I have to share my bed with somebody. I have to live under the same roof with somebody again. They want to tell me what to do. And then at the same time that I'm like, yes, I'm like, no. It's like the little devil and the angel. It's like, yes, no.
So dude, I get that. Like, I'm a complete brat, so a part of me's like, yes, I want to live with a man and be told what to do and shit. And then I'm like, have somebody wake me up, tell me I'm gonna eat right, tell me what I'm gonna fucking do in my house? No. No. Especially because I am somebody, I will work until the day I die, probably, because I enjoy working. Let them tell me some shit to do one day on when I'm in a bad mood and I'm like, you want to know what bills I paid this month? In an equal partnership, they have just as many bills they probably paid, but I don't fucking care. Don't tell me what to do if I'm paying bills under this roof.
Here's the thing, I don't want to pay bills.
I was like, until I want you to tell me what to do.
I don't want to pay bills. I want to build the empire while you pay all the bills and you do the thing. And then one day I can just say, babe, retire. And then you look at me stunned and shocked and you go, fuck yeah. And then we retire together because the empire's built. I'm sorry, not sorry. If you don't want to support me while I build our foundation and something amazing, then you're not my partner anyway. So see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. I am a force that cannot be stopped. I am almost 50 fucking years old and I am only getting better.
Yes.
And the same can be said for my co-host. I mean, not the almost 50. Thankfully, she doesn't have that. She's got a lot less worn thread.
No, but it's definitely getting better and easier with age, which, if you would have asked me even 5 years ago, I would have been like, no, it just gets worse. What the fuck are you talking about? It never gets better. But, I am glad to say sometimes I am wrong.
Well, with that, it's time to wrap this episode up. There will be a few episodes progressed in. We are still looking for a male co-host to guest star for this episode or for this series and for this conversation. So if you're interested in that, hit us up, email, snap, whatever. And until next time, we love you. And remember, rage responsibly. Bye.
We're also available on Spotify. We said what we said, and we're just getting started. Thanks for listening. Now go rage responsibly. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.